Alright, I attempted only making one of these so far, so if I mess up, that is why. I've only made one, and I just kind of made it up as I went along, but it was extremely easy to do once I figured out, you know, how to get going on it. But I obviously made a, oh, I'll just show you, a produce bag thingy. It's hard to see because everything I have on is black. There you go. But I made a produce bag. Like, it's like a, I don't know, basket type stitch thingy. I don't know. It looks really cool. But I made this because in the spring, eventually, I want to do, I did last year, a little garden outside, and I didn't have anything to bring the veggies inside with. So I realized like I needed something. And Mom let me borrow a produce bag that she had just laying around last year, which worked amazingly well, but I wanted to make my own because, you know, I can, and I thought it would be fun. So I figured I'd show you how I did this, whatever is correct there. I hopefully will be able to explain this well. I don't know, because again, I just make things up as I go along, and this one actually turned out well. So hopefully I'll be able to explain this well enough for you. This video might have like breaks and then I come back on another day, because it does take me a bit of time to get things crocheted because I don't do it all at once. And I'm a slow crocheter, it's just how I am. So if you notice that, that's why I disappeared and came back, because I was working on it. But to start, I'm going to use my favorite ever. It's the wrong size, but it's like the only crochet hook that I use. I have multiple, but you know, you find your favorite one and you use it. It's a size 7, 4.5 millimeters. It's very worn out, but if you can see it, that's what it says. And then I don't know what size this yarn is, but that's what it looks like compared to the hook. So it's the wrong size. It's definitely too thick for the hook, but it works and it looks cool, so that's all that matters to me, and I'm not willing to use a different hook. Also, I want to say you can use, if you're making a produce bag, you know, for the grocery store or whatever, and you want to be completely plastic free, I am using acrylic. I know that that is not completely free of all plastics and all that stuff. So if you want to use a bamboo, use a wool, or, and I know that one's not a vegan one if you are doing that type of thing, but use bamboo or cotton or 100% something like that. Not acrylic, but I have acrylic. I prefer it because it's so durable and you can destroy it and it holds up really well. And you know, if you're using it instead of the produce bags, the plastic ones in the grocery store, no matter what you're doing, you're not using as much plastic. So even if it's acrylic is my point. But if you wanted to go completely without, do 100% cotton or bamboo or a natural like fur type fiber, whatever they're called, a wool or something like that. But to start, I already did it, so I'll do it again. I did it without thinking. Do a slip knot. Oop, I'm on the wrong side. You pull through the side that's attached to the ball of yarn, and then you just pull it tight. You do a little slip knot and put it on your crochet hook. And the first step is easy if you know how to crochet, but I'll show you anyway. You wrap your yarn around and pull it over, and that's your first chain stitch. And do as many as you want. I didn't count. I did somewhere in the 40 range. I don't know how many it ended up to be. I just kept going until it looked like the right size. So make a chain however long or not long you want it to be, and that will be the width of your bag. So truly you can make it bigger or smaller. It will work. It's just, you know, all depends on what you think will be the right size for your needs. But I'm gonna chain, again, I'm not gonna keep count. I'm just gonna chain a few and I will be back in a second. Yeah, I actually kept count. I did not plan to do that, but my brain decided to count. I did 51, only because it will be 50 by the time I make it to the other end. but I did 51 because of the turning stitch. So add an extra to do the turn. And then I'm going to do, I believe this is called double crochet, where you wrap your yarn around your hook. Skip the last stitch on your hook. Again, it's black. It's really hard to see. I am so sorry. But you skip the first stitch that's on your hook or away from your hook and go into the second one. Like that. And then you have that. And you wrap your yarn around your hook again and pull it through. So you have 3 stitches now on your hook. Wrap it and pull it through 2, and then wrap it and pull it through another 1, and do that all the way to the end of your chain. So I'm going to be here for a moment. The first row is, I've said this before and I will always say it, is always the hardest because you need to keep it in a straight line, otherwise it'll be all twisty, and it is, again, using black, difficult to see where each stitch is. So you have to be very patient, which I am not, in doing this, but you know, it gets done. So I'm going to be here for a minute doing this, and I'll be back whenever I finish it. I might get frustrated and come back another day, but hopefully I'll be able to do it all right now. But yeah, I'll be right back, is my point. I am quite pleased with myself. I did it all in one sitting. I turned my camera off and everything because I thought for sure I was just gonna be gone. And I'm willing to, you know, do more. I'm pretty sure I have 50. I don't know, I didn't count that time. But I made it to the end of the row over here. I went into the last stitch. And the last stitch that you went into, you're gonna go into again, because you're gonna need to turn around here. So wrap your yarn. This is a bit of a challenge, but it works out in the end, trust me. So go into the same stitch that you just did your double crochet into, do another double crochet into that same one, and one more time, go into the same one again with another double crochet. So now you have 3 in 1, and then do 1 more. So you have 4 in the same end 1, and that is the corner of it. So you can see how it's kind of like cornery, kind of, I hope. I don't know. I'm trying. But you can kind of see how it's like rounded like that. I don't know how that works, but it did. Now this row, because you're now going to be working on the other side, so the bottom of the chain, it's a little bit funky. But I don't know if you can see. There are tiny little bumps at the bottom, and if you put your hook, I'm not going in, but you can put your hook through it like that, and it's a little tiny loop because it's the bottom of the stitch. You find each one of those and do a double crochet into that all the way across. It's easier than doing the double crochet on the other side of the chain for me. So this side should be easier on you. It's just the other side takes so much just concentration, and I don't necessarily enjoy that part of crocheting. I like to crochet and just like turn my brain off and just kind of do the same thing repeatedly. So that the first one is always the most pain in the butt. But yeah, this one, you just find those little loopies at the bottom of each stitch, and you should have the same amount of stitches by the end. Again, I don't count, so I don't know if it was the same on both sides or not, but you know, it was close enough, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, just continue to double crochet into each of those little bottom loopies, and I will be right back when I reach the end of this. Alrighty, I am at the end, the last stitch. I haven't done it yet because I wanted to show you. You do a double crochet in it, like, you know, normal, because it's the last one, and then go into that one again. So now there are 2 in that one, and then go into it again. So now there are 3, and then one more time for 4. And again, I don't know if I have the same amount of stitches on both sides. I'm sure it's close. It's within 1 or 2 on both sides, and it really doesn't matter that much. But yeah, you do 4 into the end to turn it, and then you find your, yeah, it's black, so you're probably barely gonna see it, but you find the first stitch. It's right here underneath my nails. right there. You find your first stitch and go into that with just a slip stitch and you join it together. So that is your first full round and the bottom of your bag. I wanted to do this just so it had kind of a base. You don't have to, but I did because I wanted it to have a base. And now you can go around again with another set of double crochets, just going into each specific one. Don't add anything around the corners, just go into each one to make it a little bit more beefy if you wanted to have a bigger base. But I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I might take it apart after I do this video and add a bigger one. Like just go around again. But for right now, because I am nearing the end of my tolerance and patience for crocheting, I'm just going to show you how to get started on the basket weave, whatever you want to call it, part. So you wrap your yarn around, go through twice, so now you have a little chain of 2, and go through again and do another chain of 2, so now you have a chain of 4. I know it seems ridiculous, but it's what works. It worked on the other one anyway. And you skip the first 2 stitches and wrap your yarn around and do a double crochet into the third away from, you know, your hook or your chain that you just made. So then you do 1 double crochet and chain 2 more, wrap your yarn, skip 2 of the crochet stitches, go into the next one like that with another double crochet, chain 2 again, just like that, wrap it around, skip another 2, and that's what you're going to be repeating the entire time. It's very, very easy and quick, actually. I was surprised at how quick it went. So it's pretty much just making, because I make granny square blankets like all the time, it's pretty much like making that, but with 1 double crochet and then 2 chains, and then you're skipping 2 of the crochet bits instead of a space. But I'm going to go around really quick, and I will be right back to show you what you should do at the next row. I had the right amount. That's exciting. Okay, so now you finished that. You finished your round. I ended on chain 2 to show you. I'm just going to go into the first loop that you made with that chain of 4. You go in there and then just kind of do the slip stitch around into that. And then that is your first full little row, the bottom. And then for the second one, now I'm just going to do a chain of 2 like that again and wrap it around and go into that same spot. I know it looks a little funky, but it's the best I can do. So if you have a better way of doing that, let me know, because I have no idea. But it worked on the first one, so that's what I'm going to do again. But now you have a little loop like that, and then you go and chain another 2 and go into the next spot, just in through the big opening, and then ignoring the little funky bit. But again, I don't know a better way to do it. If you have a better way or can come up with something, do that, but that's the best way that I can do. But then chain 2 and go into the next spot, and you do the exact same thing on this row that you did the last time, but instead of going into the stitch, you just go into the big opening, so like it's even easier. And then the next one, I will show you how to do that again, and then that should be done with all of the weird confusing bits, and you should just be able to do the same thing over and over again from here on out. But let me do this and I will be right back. Made it right back around to the funky bit. Got 2 little rows now. Hopefully you can kind of sort of see it. Like, see, I got 2 rows done. And now I am back to that little funky thingy I have going on here. But from here on out, I just ended with the chain of 2, and I am going to double crochet into the little tiny funky thingy, like in all the other stitches, and then double crochet, or double chain, I guess, 2 chains, not double crochet, and then you double crochet into the next space, and then from here on out, you just do that same thing over and over again. I just wanted to show that because it's a little bit funky. You don't do anything special with it, you just go in it. Once it gets bigger, you really won't notice it, I promise. But if it does bug you, try and figure out a better way to do it. Again, I've only made the one, so at the moment, I don't know of a better way. That's the best I could, come up with to make it look not absolutely horrible. I tried a few other things, but it just was not working. So that's what we ended up with, and it worked. But yeah, now you just do the whole 2 chains and then double crochet into each space all the way around and just continue going until it is as long as you want it to be. Again, it's easy once you get it going. The start of it is definitely the hardest, but that's with everything. That's normal. That's seriously everything. It's the hardest thing to do is start it. But yeah, once you get to this point, it's just easy. You can keep going. It's relaxing. You hardly have to pay attention. If you mess up, by the way, don't panic. It's okay. It's crochet. For the most part, you can just take it apart and redo it, or you can leave it and you'll be the only one who notices in the end. Like, seriously, no one else will notice. You only notice it because you made it and, had your hands on every last little fiber of yarn here. But yeah, you just keep crocheting this and make it however long you want it to be, however much, you're planning on fitting in it. Just keep going. And then I will be back in probably a couple of days my time, a couple seconds for you, just because this is where I start to need a break. Because I'm one of those people who can't do it all in one sitting just because I get too bored. I could if I absolutely need to make something by a specific date, but if I don't have to do that, I will take my time on it and enjoy just everything and stop when I get frustrated or bored or whatever like that. But yeah, so point is, I'll be back in a couple of days probably with it finished and a couple seconds for you. But yeah, just keep continuing on doing what you're doing, and it'll get big pretty darn quick. Since I'm actually almost at the end of this, I'm going to be right back and show you how it connects, now that you did the whole row normally, without doing anything special to the end. I'm going to show you how it connects again, so give me another half a second. You can see below here, right here where my thumb is, that's the funky one, but above it, it's just like normal, like the other ones. So you can just do the normal chain 2 and then go in it, like that, and seriously, you're going to be the only one who notices it. It's only slightly off if you're looking at it really up close. And over time, it'll probably stretch out and look exactly like the other ones. But yeah, it doesn't bother me is the point. It works, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, now I'm gonna go and take a break on doing this for today. And I will be back in a couple of days my time, in a half a second for you. But have fun. I hope it's going well for you so far. And I will see you with this thing as long as I want it to be, however long that may be. Okay, I am back. It has been a few days. Actually, not that long. It's seriously only been 3 days, which is nuts for me for getting something done. It's a small project and it does go very fast. I mean, honestly, it probably only took a couple hours total to make, which is nuts, how fast this thing goes. I wasn't, expecting it to be this fast of a project. But here it is. I made it. Again, I'm wearing black so you can barely see, but this is it. And I will try and find the funky little join. Found it. Found it. It's right where my thumb is. That's the funky little join, but again, it blends completely in, so you can't tell. And I ended up liking just the bottom this way better than my first one, so I'm leaving it as is, and this is probably how I'll do the rest of them. But yeah, that's how it has turned out. I've been crocheting it inside out, just because that's how it, well, it's right side out now, but it flipped itself inside out on me just because that's how it, you know, wanted to be, so I left it and I didn't fight it. But now that you have made it to the point where you want to end it, the best way to do this, in my opinion, is you wrap your yarn around your hook, stick it through the next stitch, wrap it, and then pull it through all 3, so it's kind of like a half. Is that called a half double crochet? I think that's a half double, I'm not sure. And then you stick it through the next little stitch and don't wrap it around, do a single crochet, I believe. And then the next one, you just pull it over both as a slip stitch, and then it just blends in pretty much, you know, completely. And then you take your yarn, cut it, where are my scissors? I remembered to bring them. Cut it, and then, again, I have said this many times, but I am terrible at knotting, so do whatever you do with your knotting. It's probably better than mine, so I'm not going to show that. But there you go, that's your little bag. And now, because I want to be insanely lazy, I'm not going to do this. This one, I went around it and folded it over and then put the rope through it. So it's like a drawstring, so you pull it tight and then it closes. It's a little drawstring. But I folded it over and, you know, it kind of took a lot of time. And I feel like being lazy, so you can do that if you want. If you do fold it over and do the way of the first bag, you just take like one round and fold it over, so it's kind of like on the next one, and then sew it together and then put the rope through. But it was a pain. I'm not going to be doing it again. This time I am, again, being insanely lazy, so I just have a piece of rope. I cut it twice the length, you know, so it'll wrap around. I put a knot in the end. I'm gonna go one down just so I have a little bit of extra give on top. See, you just go through, ignore my little tail there. You just go through it back and forth, and I'm gonna go around completely real quick, and then I'll show you how this is gonna work. Don't know how it will yet because first time doing it, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But I'll be right back. Alright, all the way around, and you can see it just looks like that. It was really easy to do. I mean, seriously, it took me like 2 minutes. It just went through it like that, and honestly, I like this better than the other one. It just looks better, and it was bonus easier. Then you just pull it tight, and then it turns into a little bag with a close. And I am impressed at how much I like this thing. Second version, way better than my first. I really like this one. And I can't believe how easy it was. I obviously still need to weave in the tail at the top and the bottom. But again, I'm not going to be showing you that because my technique is not good. So I'm sure someone else somewhere or you have a better technique at doing it. I am just not the one who is good at it, so I'm not gonna show that at the moment. I get it done and it works, it's just not the best, and I'm not the happiest with it. Yeah, but point is, I'm not showing you that. But yeah, hopefully your little baggie turned out well, and whatever you're using it for, produce, groceries, anything, just a bag, whatever you put in it. I hope it works for you and you like using it. I'm not gonna be able to know if this works really until the summer because that's when, you know, I'll have things growing. But until then, this thing is amazing. I'm really happy with it. And I'm amazed at how well it turned out. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed, you know, making your bag and that it was easy for you. And thank you so much for watching. It just means so much. So thank you so much. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Have fun making your little bag. Bye.